What's up everyone? My name is Shaelyn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And we're back. I have a little bit of a list of things that I'm going to be talking about and kind of poking fun at because I had a stroke and I am still dealing with the side effects from it. So yeah, it's kind of just to maybe be like a little bit relatable to people who have had strokes and people who are still dealing with the things that I am currently dealing with. Some of these things are going to pertain to having a TBI as well, which if you don't know what a TBI is, it's a traumatic brain injury, which I have from, it's a long story. If you want to hear the whole story of what happened the night that I had my stroke, I'll put a card in the corner for you to watch it there. It's a long one, but it's a crazy story and it's worth the watch. But anyway, I have a TBI as a result of stroking essentially for 10 hours without treatment because of a misdiagnosis. So if you want to check that doozy out, click the card in the corner. Without further ado, let's jump right into the list, shall we? The first one I'm going to be talking about pertains to having a TBI more so, but it can pertain to stroke victims as well. Honestly, you guys have probably seen it happen on camera in some of my videos because sometimes I just leave it in because it's real shit. It's what happens. Losing your train of thought or not being able to finish a sentence. Like the first few days to like the first week probably after my stroke happened, I think I was going through a bit of denial, and like that's the stages of grief or something, I'm pretty sure. But I was going through a bit of denial because I didn't want to believe that I really had much wrong with me. So like for instance, I had nurses coming in to do like some tests on me sometimes. I think they were nurses, I can't remember now, but I remember they told me to lay down and close my eyes and they would like poke a spot on my arm. And because I was in denial, I pretended that I could feel everything and that my sensation was totally normal. But in reality, I was doing this. I was going, and then I would say where she poked me. And then obviously they thought that my sensation was fine when I literally cannot barely feel anything on this arm or this leg. But that being said, they would ask me if I had any issues with like losing my train of thought or issues forming a sentence or anything like that. And at first I didn't know that I was experiencing this until I remember the very first time that I realized it was happening to me. I forget what I was saying exactly, but I was talking to my ex-boyfriend. I remember I was like trying to come up with a word and I could not think of a word, which that could be normal too. People experience not being able to remember a word that they're trying to say. But it was like literally impossible for me to finish my sentence. I like started it and then I just like stared at him and I was like, I forget what I was gonna say. So much so that he got frustrated and impatient with waiting for me to think through what I was trying to say, that he just like walked away, I'm pretty sure, which was kind of traumatizing, but he didn't know, so whatever. That was the first time that I realized that I was having issues finishing sentences and with losing my train of thought. And actually, it still happens very frequently, even today. If you can relate to that, let me know in the comments one of your experiences with dealing with that, because I'd love to feel not so alone with that. And I'm sure lots of other people would love to read your experiences with it. So drop them in the comments, I want to hear. This specifically would happen when I worked at a restaurant in my home city. I was a hostess, so I had to converse with every single person that walked into the restaurant, which was great for this reason. The second one is having to explain your disability or what's wrong with you to literally everybody because everybody always asks and they're so freaking nosy. Which honestly, like, I don't mind because I like spreading awareness about strokes and the fact that you don't have to be super old to experience a stroke and blah blah blah. It was just like a lot because it would happen to me upwards of 10 times per shift, and I worked 3 shifts a week, I think, yeah. So it was just like, okay, that's enough talking to anybody for the rest of the week, literally. This one actually kind of pertains to the first one. It happened very recently actually, which is why I added it. But number 3 is I forget how old I am actually a lot, and it's kind of a concerning amount of times that I will forget how old I am. It's because once there's a new year, I think about only what age I'm turning. And I have a late birthday, it's in October. So when there's a new year, I just think, oh, I'm turning this age. And then when somebody asks me how old I am, I tend to want to say that number, even though I'm still not that age yet. That was something strange and just really weird to feel that way, that I genuinely couldn't remember how old I was. Just a really weird experience. Number 4 is to do with being on a low dose aspirin daily. I feel like most stroke victims are put on a baby aspirin daily to keep the blood thin and reduce the chance of having another stroke due to blood clots. When you are put on it, you're much more susceptible to bruising. In high school and before that, I used to always have bruises all over me because of dance. I was a dancer, and when you're throwing your body around and doing jumps and landing on the floor and sliding into the splits all the time, you just accumulate bruises. And a lot of the time I wouldn't know where they came from. So this isn't something new to me. I feel like I've already been dealing with this my whole life. I wasn't easily bruisable, if that's even a word. But I would, because I would be hitting the floor so hard while I was dancing sometimes. Yeah, it wasn't something new to me, but I have noticed that I bruise a lot easier. Like, especially if I just like walk into the corner of the kitchen island, bruise on my hip immediately. Not immediately, but definitely over the next couple days, I'll notice that one forms. A lot of the times I don't know where they come from. I'll just be like getting dressed or like in the shower one day and I'll be like, oh, there's a new one. I pretty much always have bruises on me because of that. I don't know really the science of why you bruise easier when you're on aspirin. Maybe I can insert a little thing on the screen. Number 5, this one also goes along with having to take aspirin daily, constantly whenever you're getting your blood work done or anything like that, anything to do with like needles or whatever, having to warn lab techs and healthcare workers that I'm a bleeder just so that they are prepared to deal with that, because it's just the way it is. Your blood is really thin when you're on aspirin. Number 6 is balance issues. You guys already kind of know that about me from my Breaking 10,000 Barriers series. I mean, my whole life, because I was a dancer and I was just a pretty athletic person naturally, I never had any balance issues. And I will say, I think I've said this before, I feel like I've definitely kind of made this joke before, but I could honestly stand on my right foot for an entire video just talking, not like normally, because of how good my balance is on that side of my body and how well trained I was from dance. Yeah, it sucks not having balance on my left side anymore, but because of that, I am so much more susceptible to wiping out. Like, the amount of times I stub my toe and trip over my own feet daily is remarkable. It's like so annoying because it's really embarrassing sometimes when you do fall. Number 7 is drooling / having leftover food on your face or in your cheek on your hemiplegic side. This was really bad for me in the beginning like stages of my stroke, I would constantly like be eating food, and a lot of food would be left in like my cheek, like in this area up here and down here, because I just simply can't feel that side of my face. I would get in the habit of, after I was done eating, doing one of these so that I made sure I didn't leave any food over there, because that's honestly pretty gross when like you're going about your day and you find some food in your cheek. It's like, ugh. But drooling is a big one. I still drool to this day, and I'm always in the habit of when I'm talking to somebody, I'm constantly doing this so that I don't start drooling and they're not like, what the hell? Food is a big one too. Whenever I'm with people and I'm eating, I will always have a napkin, and I'm always wiping my mouth after like every bite, because you know, people get food on their mouths in general when they're eating, like especially sauces and things like that. So, but the issue with me is I can't feel it, so it will be like all over my cheek, and I'll just like not know. And sometimes Brandon even will be like, you got something, and I'll have to wipe it off. But that's always an issue. Let me know if you relate to that one. I think this is number 8, constantly looking awkward when you feel awkward. I think I've mentioned this before, but I can't seem to hide my emotions because my paralyzed arm loves to react when I feel awkward. So like, for instance, if I see somebody that I really don't want to have a conversation with, or I like feel awkward in front of, my arm will literally do one of these. And like if they approach me and I'm talking to them, it'll just like stay up there and even like shake a little bit. And honestly, it's kind of been for the better that happens to me, because I do not lie about literally anything anymore. I feel like I used to lie a little bit when I was younger about just like random stuff, even just like white lies. But I'm pretty sure I remember one time I like said a flat out lie to my husband. Just like, and it wasn't even like anything serious. It was just like a funny thing that I was like trying to see if he would believe me. And my arm started reacting because I started like getting in my head about lying and things like that. And he looked down at my arm and he was like, "You're lying, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am actually." I just had to admit it because like obviously he knew. I'm pretty sure I would have said that I was lying anyway eventually. But another one is having to deal with nail techs, like getting your nails done. I especially, oh my God, I don't know if anybody else experiences this. I feel like you probably do if you have hemiplegia. Getting pedicures done, when they scrub the bottom of your foot, my nail tech knows not to do it because my foot reacts so horribly. It literally like contorts because of like how sensitive it is to like any stimulation, especially in the bottom of my foot. I've always been ticklish, but especially with it being paralyzed, I can't stop it from doing that. So he knows not to do that. And that's another thing, having to find the perfect nail tech to work with your disability with you. Mine, shout out to Andy. He's amazing. He knows not to like obviously scrub the bottom of my foot because I can't handle it and my foot will be like distorted looking for like the rest of the appointment. And I've talked about this I think in my last video. I don't remember what video it was. He has to like work specially with my left hand, like completely separately from sitting at his desk. He takes me to the pedicure chair to get really close to it, and honestly he's awesome for like putting up with it. I always tip him really good because he's just great. I forget what number I'm at, but the next one is clawless. I've made a whole video about this. I'll put a card in the top corner for my disability detail clawless video. Tells you all about it, but if you know, you know. It's just like an awkward thing to have to deal with, constantly having like, well not constantly, but like in certain situations, if you step on your foot the wrong way, you'll have, or I personally anyway, have clawless in my foot, and it's like My whole body literally like shakes because of how severely my clawness is in my leg. Another one, and I know a lot of people are gonna say that it's not that noticeable and it's all in my head because everybody says that in my life. I think they're just being nice, but I'll insert a picture because I took a really good picture one time of like my hand being relaxed, and I put it on my computer desk, I'm pretty sure, so you can really see the difference. But my hemiplegic hand is like so soft, and I have like a little bit of wrinkly hands and fingers to begin with, but compared to my right hand is so wrinkly and I'm so self-conscious of it. And because I use it like to compensate for not having my left hand doing anything, I feel like it's so much more worn and torn and just wrinkly looking compared to my left hand. And yeah, I'll insert the picture, but you can really see the difference in that picture. It's like, oh wow, yeah, wrinkly hand and smooth hand. And to close out this video, this one is a doozy. I feel like you would only know this. I mean, you would only know most of these anyway if you have hemiplegia or any kind of paralysis, but my left hand will grab onto things like, I feel like bars, like metal bars, but I can't think of a specific circumstance where I've done this and where a metal bar would be, but I distinctly remember like this being so painful, and it's so annoying because it's like, ugh, like it's not like your fault, nobody bumped you, or you can't be mad at yourself because you didn't bump into it yourself. But my left hand will straight up grab things and I won't notice that it's holding on to something, and it has to be something that's like hard and like secured in its spot, because when I stand up or I pull away to like start walking or whatever, my hand will still be on it and it'll like rip off of it because I'm going in the other direction, and it can't come with me if it's like secured in its spot. It is so painful when it rips off of that thing. Oh my God.
Okay, quick little interruption. I kind of remembered something where this actually happens to me, so I'm gonna try and reenact it for the only time that I'm ever gonna purposefully do this because it hurts. Let me see if I can get it to do it. I don't know if it'll do it. So say I'm like bending over on the couch to pick something up, like a remote or something like that. Sometimes my arm will like, it'll like, yeah, catch the bottom of the couch like this, and when I go to stand up, oh God, it hurts. I didn't make it as severe as it usually is, but as you can see, my hand gripped it really tightly and it was about to hurt really bad, so I kind of like stopped it from doing that. But if I sit up too quickly, like I don't have time to stop it, so yeah, it really hurts.
And like, I know I say I don't have much sensation. I'm pretty sure I've said this before though, I have like deep tissue sensation, so like I don't have any surface sensation, but when something hurts and it's deep in my muscle, oh, I feel it, and it is the worst pain ever. Yeah, if you know, you know. Maybe I'll make that the title of this video, if you know, you know, strokes. But yeah, that was this video. Hopefully it was nice and relatable for all you strokies out there. I wish there was more videos out there about stuff like this because it's just so nice to be able to relate to somebody, and like just like the weird, quirky, like random things that nobody really thinks about and nobody experiences unless you're dealing with something like this. So like I said throughout the video, let me know in the comments if you relate to anything I've said in this video. I'd love to hear your experiences with things like this, and if you can think of any more, let me know. I really want to be able to just relate to you guys. I think it's like so fun to have like this little community of people that know what it's like to be dealing with this on the daily. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on all my socials linked in the description down below. And once again, I will see you next week for another new video. Okay, bye.